Hey everyone, Christina Carb here at the Castaway Kitchen. It's been a minute since I did a video, but I wanted to talk to you about a little experiment I did myself. As most of you know, I have been doing paleo for the last 4 years and some change. In that, I've done 6 Whole30s, 4 months of the autoimmune protocol, did my reintroductions, then transitioned into a low carb paleo and dabbled in specific carbohydrate diet in that time because of some dysbiosis symptoms, and then eventually moved on to like what I do now, which is a modified ketogenic diet. It's I do dairy free, nightshade free, mostly nut free keto, but it's very paleo centered, where I very much limit or avoid a lot of foods which people eat on keto. Like I said, the dairy, I don't do processed foods. I won't eat something if it's not paleo essentially. I've dabbled with sugar alcohols, but usually don't do them. Things like that. So for me, paleo is like my big umbrella. I just feel better on a lower carb for my digestion, among other things. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about not weight loss, not autoimmune disease. I want to talk about emotional and mental well-being. Something I don't discuss too often on the blog, mostly because it hasn't been relevant to my life in many years, is that in the past I've suffered from depression, and I was diagnosed in high school with attention deficit hyperactive disorder, ADHD, and was medicated for about a year. I took Adderall. I didn't like how it made me feel, so I stopped taking it. But I remember when I finally transitioned into a more ketogenic approach, when I transitioned into becoming a fat burner. My paleo was very high starch, and I loved to bake. So while most people on paleo tend to be fat burners normally, if I wasn't on a Whole30, I was addicted to sugar, so I did a lot of sweets with honey maple syrup, which is why I think keto works for me. Keto pays. I'm an abstainer, not a moderator. I know that about myself. So anyway, I have been doing that for a really long time, 3 years now, and I feel great, and I've had a lot of benefits to my health and my body composition, and just in general, like mental clarity. I can, I write cookbooks, and I write them fast, and I went through school, and I did all these other things that I just used to struggle with a lot, and my mental capacity has been amazing. In efforts to change things up, because as you guys know, I am not dogmatic. I don't think carbs are the devil. I do practice carb ups, especially around my workouts, and they serve me well. But when I came to Miami here for the summer, I decided to get a one-time consultation with a local nutritionist dietitian. Just because I've been kind of doing this myself for a while, but now as I turn to work as a nutritional therapy practitioner and I work with clients, I thought, maybe it would be good to have someone in my corner. While I'm supporting my clients, I could have someone in my corner to help me optimize and troubleshoot and get another pair of eyes. And I knew, like, obviously, when you work with someone who's not in the ancestral health space, holistic space, they're not going to be very familiar with the benefits of keto or paleo. So she was very concerned by my low carb approach. And although she said I could still stay moderately low carb to try and integrate small amounts of carbohydrates in my 2 meals a day, because I don't eat breakfast, which she was also worried about. But I'm like, listen, I can't eat before the gym or I will throw up. So I was like, you know what? What can it hurt? I can totally add a little bit of rice and a little bit of plantain chips or sweet potato into my diet after the gym and with dinner. So I did. And I did that for about a week. And at first, obviously it's delicious. It seemed fine. I felt fine. I definitely was kicking butt in the gym. Like, I felt very fueled during my Orange Theory workouts. But then I crashed, not physically, emotionally. I hit such a rock bottom, and I wasn't PMSing because I tracked my cycle, so it wasn't hormonal. It was normally in the time of my cycle, which is right after my period, that I'm feeling the best. And I was feeling helpless and foggy headed, and I had this sensation of I can't do it. Like, I couldn't get through my days, I couldn't get through my tasks, and it hit me so hard, and I felt 2 days drowning in this feeling. And I was sitting there at the kitchen counter by myself one morning, and it dawned on me that the gut-brain connection, our gut microbiota changes, constantly adapting to the food we're eating. And I truly think in those 7 days of, even because I also use like some grain, even though rice, is inherently not a bad food and most people eat it and they're fine. For me, I think just having that in my diet, and I did eat a lot of sushi that week too. The grain, the rice, and the little popcorn here, the week of being a regular carb consumer, I definitely wasn't in ketosis anymore, and I didn't think the last thing I expected was the effect it would have on my mental state. I thought maybe I'll gain some weight, who cares? It's just an experiment. Maybe I'll feel bloated. I don't know what I thought. The last thing I thought it would affect was how I felt emotionally and mentally. And wow, it was a sobering moment because I almost took it for granted, my overall mental capacity, ability to get shit done, to be an optimist. I've always been an optimist. I've always been a high energy person, but I used to have to drag myself through the days, through getting things done. I was kind of I was very aloof, and it was hard to focus, but I really I'm grateful for my focus, and I'm grateful for my ability to do hard things and get things done and not feel helpless in my day-to-day tasks and overcoming things, but I did. And so that day, then I did my book photo shoot that next day, and I fasted, and then I just stayed keto and paleo, and I've been on track. I do very protein-centered meals, meaning blood sausage and raw fish and liver and lots of red meat and kale and mushrooms, and just nutrient dense plant matter and lots of nutrient dense protein. And by the second or third day, I felt like myself again. And now that it's been 7 days straight of super dialed in, I feel amazing again, and back to my regular superhuman self. And I just wanted to share that with you guys, because it's not about saying you have to be perfect 100% on track all the time, but it's just a glimpse of how our food choices affect not only our digestion, our autoimmune and inflammatory responses, and our body composition, but our emotional well-being as well. There's definitely that gut-brain connection there, and I think different people's gut microbiota thrives on different nutrients. So if you normally consume a higher carbohydrate diet and you feel amazing, good for you. This isn't about low carb winning versus other type of diets. It just was a sobering moment for me to realize that while I can do carb ups sporadically in my diet, having them every day consistently very negatively affected my emotional well-being, and now I'm aware. Other things, I did have wine 1 or 2 nights. I was just trying and that's another thing. Alcohol will negatively affect your mental well-being. So anyway, I just thought I'd share with you guys because it's something that wasn't on my radar. It really wasn't. But now it definitely is. So I might experiment more with this in the future, but not right now because I got too much stuff to do. But let me know in the comments, have you experienced something similar? Has changing your diet to whole foods from standard American diet to processed foods affected your emotional or mental well-being? And let me know. I'd love to start a conversation about this. I know there's research. I haven't delved into it. I know this is super anecdotal, but I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know.